Hi, my name is Sam. Welcome to Mox Cube. Today we're going to review the new set Modern Horizons, and I know a lot of people call it Commander Horizons, but personally I like to call it Cube Horizons because there are a lot of cards in this set that I'm excited to put in my cube and try out. So I think there's about 25 cards I'm putting in my cube, and so we're going to go through them by color, and I'll try to keep the video shorter than the War of the Spark video. I know that one got a little long, so we'll try to buzz through these as quick as we can. So first up, Giver of Runes. For a single white, it's a 1/2 Core Cleric. Tap another target creature you control gains protection from colorless or the color of your choice until end of turn. This card has been lovingly labeled Stepmom, as it is not quite as good as Mother of Runes, the original mom. But it is still good enough for Cube, and I'm excited to play it. I'm taking out Lone Lion in its place. Next up, we have Ranger Captain of Eos. For 1 double white, it's a human soldier, 3/3. When Ranger Captain of Eos enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost 1 or less, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Has another ability, sacrifice Ranger Captain of Eos. Your opponents can't cast non-creature spells this turn. So, this card finds your mom. You can sacrifice it on the upkeep of your opponent's turn right after you play mom. And then play your Sun Titan later and bring it back. Sounds pretty good to me. I don't know. I like it. There's plenty of 1-drops it can go find, including Mother of Runes and some like Gideon's Lawkeeper and stuff like that. So I'm excited to try it. I'm taking out Resplendent Angel. Next we have Vesperlark, a nice little Revelark throwback. So for 2 and a white, we have an elemental that's a 2/1. It has flying. When Vesperlark leaves the battlefield, return target creature card with power 1 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. You can evoke it for 1 and a white. Did your mom die? You can bring her back. Sounds great. I like it. Taking out History of Benalia. I was always a little disappointed when I tried playing that card. It felt a little slow, especially if my opponent killed both the tokens before the third ability went off. That was really sad. Next card. Not really for every cube, not really for cube in general, but I want to try it. I often thought about putting Cloud Shift in, so we're going to try putting this card in, Ephemerate, if I can pronounce it correctly. I think that's how you say it. Ephemerate. So we're going to put this in. It costs single white. It is an instant. You can exile target creature you control, then return to the battlefield under its owner's control, and it has rebound. I thought this would be fun with some other cards in the cube that have enter the battlefield effects, and particularly with Panharmonicon in my cube, I thought it'd be fun. So I'm taking out Unexpectedly Absent to put this in. On Thin Ice, a single white for a snow enchantment aura. When, enchant a snow land you control. Speaking of which, I will be including snow lands in my mana that's available for people to play with. So you should be able to have as much snow lands as you like for your draft. So anyways, when On Thin Ice enters the battlefield, exile target creature and opponent controls until On Thin Ice leaves the battlefield. So it's strictly better than Chained to the Rocks, which I always liked, but I always thought was a little too restrictive for cube. So we're going to try this out. I took out Abolish. I felt like with all the Oblivion Ring effects and disenchants and stuff in my cube, I just felt like I had plenty of artifact and enchantment removal. So Abolish came out. Winds of Abandon. It's a sorcery for 1 and a white. Exile target creature you don't control. For each creature exiled this way, its controller searches their library for a basic land. Those players put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle their libraries. You can overload for 4 and double white. I almost passed over this card. I'm like, oh, it's just a terrible path to exile with a wrath effect, until I realized, oh wait, when you wrath, it's a one-sided wrath, and that seems really good. So the key is, after you do this, you got to win quick though, because now that your opponent has taken all the lands out of their deck, they're just going to draw gas for the rest of the game. So But yeah, you should be able to pull off a real nice win when you play this. So I took out Aura of Silence for the same reason I took out the other card, was just so many naturalizes in my cube. They end up in sideboards all the time, and I decided it wasn't worth having it in. Sarah, the Benevolent, 2 double white legendary planeswalker. Sarah starts with 4 loyalty. +2 creatures you control with flying get +1/+1 till end of turn. -3 create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. -6 you get an emblem with if you control a creature, damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. So the ultimate is worship, and if nobody does anything, you can get it in 2 turns if you don't need the angel right away or at all. But having an ability to create a 4/4 angel right out the gate with flying and vigilance seems like a really good defense for her. I almost didn't put it in because I have so many white planeswalkers in my cube, but a friend of mine convinced me to put it in, so we'll give her a whirl. I'm taking out a Maria Angel. All right, on to blue. Fairy Seer for a single blue. It's a 1/1 fairy wizard. Has flying. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2. I always love these early game cards with scrying enter the battlefield triggers. I think they're great. Augury Owl, Omen Speaker. I even considered the Ravnica Allegiance card, Sage's Rosavant, but I decided that one as a 2/1 just didn't quite make the cut. But I really like this one. 1/1 flyer for 1 with a great enter the battlefield effect. That's perfect. I love it. So, took out Cloud of Fairies. I feel like I was always disappointed when I tried to use it. Obviously you want to try and untap something awesome like Gaia's Cradle with it, but it just never happens. So it got the cut. Next we have Bizarre Trade Mage. For 2 and a blue, it is a 3/4 human wizard with flying. When a Bizarre Trade Mage enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards, then discard 3 cards. So obviously it's a little mini Bizarre Baghdad, a card that I would really like to get for my cube eventually, but at the moment do not have. So this will just have to suffice until then. I took out Warkite Marauder. Next we have Tribute Mage. 2 and a blue for a human wizard. It is a 2/2. When Tribute Mage enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost 2. Reveal the card, put it in your hand, and then shuffle your library. So 2 drops that are artifacts that are awesome to go get. Umezawa's Jit, Spellskite, Phyrexian Revoker, Winter Orb, and in a pinch you can go get Signets for color fixing. So I thought this was great. It's going in. I'm taking out Wake Thrasher. Next was a card I wasn't convinced that I really needed in my cube, but I wanted to try it. Echo of Eons. For 4 and double blue, it's a sorcery. Each player shuffles their hand and graveyard into their library, then draws 7 cards. Flashback of 2 and a blue. Yes, the flashback is exactly a power 9 card. So if you manage to get it into your graveyard with your Bizarre Trade Mage, you get to play a power 9 card. Seems sweet. So we'll try it out, see how people like it. I took out the card Snap. I felt like I had plenty of bounce effects. Snap just felt unnecessary. On the black, we have Cabal Therapist. For a single black, it's a 1/1 horror creature with menace. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, you may sacrifice a creature. When you do, choose a non-land card name. Then target player reveals their hand and discards all cards with that name. Yeah, it's probably better in constructed, but I figure you're able to sacrifice things repeatedly and know what's in your opponent's hands and start cherry-picking cards out of their hand every turn. So, with Bitter Blossom or some other token maker, maybe it's not so bad. Plus, it's a 1/1 menace, and you don't even have to attack for the ability to go off. So I felt like it might just do okay. And plus, black has a severe lack of good 1-drops in my cube, so we'll try this one out. I took out Bearer of Silence. Next up, we have Defile. So, Defile is an instant for a single black. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each swamp you control. So I figured this, in most cases, is going to be as good, if not better, than Disfigure. So I took out Disfigure, and I feel that this card kind of grows along with the game. So later in the game, it's going to be better than a Disfigure late in the game. So next we have red cards. Seasoned Pyromancer. It is 1 and double red for a 2/2 human shaman. When Seasoned Pyromancer enters the battlefield, discard 2 cards, then draw 2 cards. For each non-land card discarded this way, create a 1/1 red elemental creature token. Then you can pay 3 and double red and exile Seasoned Pyromancer from your graveyard. Create 2 1/1 red elemental creature tokens. So I had originally considered the card from Battlebond, Azra Bladeseeker. It has each player on the team discards a card and then draws, and it was a 3/2 for 2 and a red. I liked the idea of having a body and doing a red loot, but it just felt like it wasn't quite there, wasn't quite powerful enough. And when this card was spoiled, I got really excited because not only does it loot, it also makes tokens if you discard non-land cards, and just seemed like and a graveyard ability. Just makes it seem like an all-around great card for Cube. So I'm excited to play it. I took out Kirdape. Goatnap is my next card. I love threaten effects. So this one is technically strictly better than Threaten. So for 2 and a red, we have a sorcery. Gain control of target creature till end of turn. Untap that creature. It gains haste until end of turn. If that creature is a goat, it also gets +3/+0 till end of turn. All right. In my cube, you're probably not going to be stealing goats. I think I've cut all the changelings at this point in my cube. So that ability is pretty irrelevant. However, it's a threaten, and you can sack it to things, and I like doing that. So I took out Madcap Skills. I haven't really played that card in a long time, although I liked it when it first came out a lot. But that's what we got. Next, we're into green already. Hex Drinker. For a single green, you have a 2/1. It has, it's a snake. It has level up. At level 3 through 7, it's a 4/4 with protection from instants. At level 8, it's a 6/6 with protection from everything. So I took out Wild Nacatl. Yeah, Zoo took a really hard hit this update with losing Kirdape, Loam Lion, Wild Nacatl. But I felt like this was just a little more interesting than Wild Nacatl, and level up's just kind of a fun mechanic. So yeah, it went in. Next up, we have Deep Forest Hermit. It is an elf druid that costs 3 and double green for a 1/1 with Vanishing 3. When Deep Forest Hermit enters the battlefield, create 4 1/1 squirrel creature tokens. Squirrels you control get +1/+1. Yes, this is a throwback to Deranged Hermit, which is on the reserve list. So, the nice thing about this is it sticks around a little longer. You don't have that cost on your upkeep, the echo cost. The downside is you don't have the echo cost, so it doesn't go to the graveyard right away, and you can't use Reoccurring Nightmare to get it back the next turn. Need a little more finagling to do that trick. So, but otherwise, great card. Excited to play it alongside my Deranged Hermit. I took out God Eternal Ronus. Side note, that is the shortest amount of time a card has ever put in my cube. Maybe 2 months. Yeah, sorry, God Eternal Ronus. It is what it is. Savage Swipe. Green. Sorcery. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn if its power is 2. Then it fights target creature you don't control. Strictly better than Prey Upon, so it has replaced Prey Upon. All right, here's a card that probably doesn't go in every cube, but I put it in mine because I have some fun toys to go with it. Soul Herder. Oh, and plus it's Seb McKinnon art, and as we all know, that's all that matters anymore, as long as you're playing cards that have Seb McKinnon art. Soul Herder, 1 white blue. It is a 1/1 spirit. Whenever a creature is exiled from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Soul Herder. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile another target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So, this was a last minute decision to add this in. I played against it at FNM last week. It seemed like fun. I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to try it out. So, it goes well with the new Ephemerate card. And with Panharmonicon in my cube. I took out Detention Sphere because Detention Sphere in the cube with Singleton is just basically an O-ring that has more color requirements. So I decided we'll try this card instead. Next we have Lightning Skelemental for black, red, or Ball Lightning as I like to call it. It's a 6/1 elemental skeleton with trample and haste. Whenever Lightning Skelemental deals combat damage to a player, that player discards 2 cards. At the beginning of the next end step, you sacrifice Lightning Skelemental. Man, that could be brutal if you gave it double strike. I took out Duretti Ingenious Iconoclast. Next, we have Nature's Chant. All right. So, Nature's Chant costs 1 and a hybrid green-white. Instant, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Strictly better than both Naturalize and Disenchant. Clever name, I know. Nature's Chant. Green-white is so tight and has so many good cards. I didn't feel like this actually deserved a spot in green-white. But it is strictly better than Disenchant and Naturalize. And Naturalize, I just upgraded with Return to Nature from War of the Spark because it had an additional ability to that. And so I decided this is actually going to take the place of Disenchant in my cube. And yes, it hurts my OCD just a little bit, but we're going to do it. Next up is Icefang Coatl? I don't know how to say that. It's a 1/1 snake for green and blue. Flash, flying. When Icefang Coatl enters the battlefield, draw a card. Icefang Coatl has Death Touch as long as you control at least 3 other snow permanents. So when this card was spoiled, everyone's hopes and dreams were dashed by not having Baleful Strix in the set. But that's all right. This seems cool, and I'm putting Snowlands in the cube, so it shouldn't be too difficult to get to 3 and give this thing Death Touch. So that's what we're doing. And I took out Simic Sky Swallower, decided there were plenty of big fat bombs that could be cheated into play in my cube, so decided that one could be cut. Sword of Sinew and Steel for 3. We have protection from red and black. Creature gets +2/+2. And whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, destroy up to 1 target Planeswalker and up to 1 target artifact. Equip 2. It's a sword. It has relevant protection. I'm going to play it. You're going to play it. We're all going to play it. It's going in. I took out Lotus Bloom. Probably long overdue, honestly. The only really good thing with Lotus Bloom is getting cheated in to play with Tezzeret. So, Lotus Bloom's out. Oh, and side note, because it's similar, Lotus Bloom is similar to the new Mox Tantalite. Yeah, Mox Tantalite was just disappointing. Love the art, but just not quite good enough. And cheating into play just isn't worth it. So that one's not going in, just so you know. Sword of Truth and Justice, costs 3, equip 2. Equipped creature has +2/+2 and protection from white and blue. And whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control and then proliferate. The effect seems little, but if you have enough things on the board, Planeswalkers-wise, the proliferate can be a big deal. So I'm excited to try it. I love swords, so it's going in. I took out Darksteel Citadel. There's less and less things all the time that are like from my artifact decks in my cube, and eventually things are going to get completely cut out, unfortunately. But that's just the way it is. This cube just kind of morphs and ebbs and flows all the time. So yeah, putting the sword in, taking out Darksteel Citadel. All right, what else we got here? Aha, So I believe this is the last card on my list. Prismatic Vista. Land. Tap, pay 1 life, sacrifice Prismatic Vista, search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So it's a better Terramorphic Expanse or explosive. No, what is that card? Whatever the other one is. So it's a better card because it comes in untapped. Obviously, paying the 1 life is worth it. So it's going in. Taking out Zoffirin Void, the Dominaria card. It was fun for a little while. Lasted a year. Time to go. So cards that you may have noticed I didn't mention. Wrenn and 6 or the Horizon Land Cycle. I don't like putting partial land cycles in my cube. So I'm going to wait until they finish that cycle and then we'll put all the cards in at the same time. And then probably at the same time add Wrenn and 6 because he does a lot of fun things with lands and graveyards and such. I just didn't feel like Wrenn and 6 was worth it with just fetch lands in my cube, especially because my cube is so big. I have a 720 card cube. So I decided I'll wait on those and put them in later. I assume they're going to finish the Horizon Land Cycle in the next couple years, I hope. So we'll see. Also, I didn't put in the Force cycle, the Force Up cycle. The closest I was to putting in was the black one out of the cycle, but I think I'd rather just play straight up removal or like spot removal or a Wrath Effect over a card like that is a little more unique, but I just didn't feel like it was quite as good. So that is it for my cube update. I hope I made this in a timely fashion. I wasn't looking at a timer, but you can check out my cube. I'll have the link below if you want to draft it on Cube Tutor. And feel free to subscribe or share my video. I appreciate you watching. Thanks.